What do you mean? No, that's not possible.
My name is Claire Whitfield. I'm 44, and my mother has missed every single one of my son's 18 birthdays. So when she told him to cancel the biggest opportunity of his life to babysit for my sister, my quiet, steady boy did something no one in our family had ever done. He said no. She sent him a message that ended with the words, "After everything I've done for this family." He didn't argue. He didn't explain. He sent back one photo, no caption. An hour later, my sister called me and she was crying so hard I could barely understand a single word. But that photo was only the first domino. What my mother did at my son's going-away dinner in front of 30 people forced me to ask her a question I had spent my whole life avoiding. Welcome back to Calm Drama Stories, where quiet people finally find their voice. This one starts with a dinner table and ends with a question I never thought I'd have the courage to ask my own mother. Stay with me, because you will not see where this one turns. Let me tell you about the pattern first, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. My mother, Diane, has a story for every missed birthday: sciatica flaring the year Nathan turned 9, a dizzy spell the year he turned 12. Last year, it was a biopsy follow-up, vague enough that nobody could ask a real question about it, urgent enough that nobody dared to. I'm an ER charge nurse. I've spent 19 years learning what a real emergency sounds like, and every single time, some quiet part of me clocked the same thing. No ride requests, no prescriptions filled, no mention of a doctor's name. Just a phone call, timed perfectly, landing exactly when my son needed her most. I told myself I was imagining it. That's the first lie you tell yourself in a family like mine. This spring, Nathan turned 18. He'd spent 2 years chasing something real and paid internship with a robotics startup in Seattle, the kind of opportunity that turns into a career instead of a summer job. The onboarding date was fixed. Miss it, and the offer disappeared, not delayed, gone. He told my mother about it a month before departure. She said, "We'll see, honey." I knew exactly what "we'll see" meant. My sister Dana lives an hour away with her 2 kids. Her divorce was still unresolved, and a custody hearing was set the same week Nathan was supposed to fly out. Dana needed to prove to a judge that she had stable, reliable support at home. Here is where it gets strange. 2 weeks before the hearing, my mother told Dana that Nathan had already agreed to move in and help with the kids that week, to show the judge family stability. Nathan had never said a single word about it. I found out by accident, the way you always find out the truth in families like mine, sideways, through a receipt. I was helping Dana return a gift on our shared family Amazon account when I noticed 3 toy purchases logged under Nathan's name, sent to Dana's kids, dated a month earlier. Nathan never bought them. He didn't even know the account existed. My stomach dropped the way it does at work when a chart doesn't add up. Someone had been building a story about my son using his name before he ever knew he was in it. 2 nights before Nathan's going-away dinner, my mother caught him alone in the kitchen while the caterers set up trays behind them. I watched from the hallway. "I raised money for your—"
You need to stop this defiance right now, Nathan. We are only trying to help you.
"your father's funeral. Doesn't that earn me 1 week?" Nathan didn't flinch. "Grandma, I never said yes to anything. I don't even know what you told Aunt Dana. You're choosing a job over your own blood. I'm choosing the one thing I built myself. I'll help Aunt Dana any other week, just not this one." She didn't answer him. She turned and walked back into the party, smiling at guests like nothing had happened. That smile was the scariest part. The next morning, our smart speaker did something it had never done before. It read aloud a voicemail my mother accidentally routed to our shared family account instead of her sister's phone. I was pouring coffee when the device spoke in her voice. "I need this family to need me again. Walt filed for divorce last week. If I'm the one holding everyone together, maybe they remember who they be without me." I stood frozen, coffee pot in hand, hearing the truth fall out of a speaker on my kitchen counter. It wasn't cruelty, it was fear, wearing cruelty's clothes. That didn't make it hurt less. If the sentence like, "after everything I've done has ever been handed to you like a bill for your own childhood," put the word "bill" in the comments below. I read every single one, and that comment section is the least lonely place on the internet. And now, back to the story, because the dinner was only hours away, and my mother had one more move left to play.
Dana showed up to the going-away dinner early, and she wasn't crying anymore. She was furious. She'd gone to the courthouse that morning and told the judge the truth, that Nathan had never agreed to anything, that the family support plan had been fabricated. The judge didn't hold it against her. If anything, her honesty helped her case. Dana found our mother by the drink table and said, low enough that only I could hear, "You used my custody hearing as leverage on my kids, Mom." Our mother's face didn't move. "I was helping you." "You were helping yourself," Dana said, and walked away. 30 guests, string lights, a cake shaped like a suitcase because Nathan's flight left in 10 hours. And right as everyone lifted their glasses to toast him, my mother gasped, grabbed the edge of the table, and went pale. The exact gray I've seen on real cardiac patients 1,000 times. Every head in that backyard turned toward me, the nurse, the daughter, the one who'd know what to do. But this time, before I even moved, Dana was already on her knees beside our mother, phone in hand. "If this is real," Dana said, steady and clear, "I'm calling 911 right now, not driving you myself, not tonight." The yard went silent. My mother's eyes flicked to the phone, just for a second, then to me, then back to Dana. "Don't be dramatic," she said, straightening in her chair. "I'm fine." She smoothed her dress, picked up her purse, and walked out through the gate without saying goodbye to anyone. For the first time in the history of our family, nobody ran after her. I felt my hands shaking, not from fear this time, but from something closer to relief. Third Good Stories brings clarification to family drama, not places to sidle. At 5 the next morning, Nathan stood at the door with his bag already packed, boots on, quiet the way he's always been before something big. He looked at me and asked the same kind of question he'd been asking his whole life, without ever putting it into words. "If she never really changes, are you going to be okay?" I told him the truest thing I had. "I'm okay being your mother more than her daughter. I should have picked sooner. Go." He hugged me, grinned like his grandfather used to, and got into the shuttle. I stood on the porch and watched the taillights disappear down the street, and for the first time in years, my phone didn't buzz with an emergency the second he was gone. 6 weeks of silence followed. No calls, no sirens, no dizzy spells timed to anything important. Then, on Thursday evening, my phone rang, and it was her. Her voice was ordinary, almost shy. "I was thinking," she said, "about maybe coming to Sunday dinner if that offer's still open." She came at 6. She brought rolls from the grocery store. My mother, who once baked for a fundraiser attended by the mayor, store-bought rolls were the closest thing to a white flag her hands could carry. She sat in the guest chair, not at the head of the table. She asked about Nathan's internship, and for 1 hour she was simply a grandmother having dinner. When the old sentence tried to climb back into her mouth, "After everything I've..."
Nobody at the table picked it up. It fell to the floor and stayed there. She looked at it and passed the green beans instead. Nathan's internship turned into a full-time offer by the end of summer. Dana got full custody, hired a real sitter with her own money, and calls me every week now. No middleman, no version of events passed through anyone else. Just her voice, telling me the truth directly, the way sisters are supposed to. My mother still isn't perfect. Some Sundays she's wonderful. Some Sundays she's a lot. But every Sunday she is a guest, not a creditor. And it turns out that's a role she can actually survive. Here's what I learned from all of it, and I think it's worth sitting with tonight. Being needed is a bill someone else writes for you to pay for the rest of your life. Being loved is a door you can walk through freely anytime you want. If someone in your life only shows up when something is breaking, ask yourself the only question that matters. Is this an emergency, or is this a habit? If this story meant something to you, hit follow and subscribe to Calm Drama Stories so you don't miss what comes next. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to ask your own family that same question? I'll see you in the next one.